Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am deeply sorry for spamming your notifications. I screwed up once again. I recorded the whole video with mic muted, and I just I'm a monkey. And nevertheless, I'm here to talk about MSI. MSI is cancelled. This whole COVID-19 has been crazy for the whole world. It's even put me in a position during this off season where I couldn't pursue certain things because it just got in the way, and it is what it is, right? We're all dealing with it, and hopefully we can all come out of it stronger somehow and more united as people. But this is not a political video or something like that. This is a focus on the recent news from LoL esports. So the first one, for those who don't know, MSI has been cancelled. Big surprise. I think there was no way in hell MSI would be pulled off, especially looking at some of the desperate measures that were being considered, that it would be played at a later date or something like that. I think even that would just be a very, very poor MSI. I don't know if you've heard some of the things that Dana White tried to do, the president of the UFC. He was trying to buy an island to have the UFC do things. And I think if a company that is backed by ESPN and Walt Disney and shit, I think it's not going to happen. But luckily we're in a position where esports is still very active. Other sports are not, and I think we're all blessed in some shape or form that we can continue watching games and play games and participate in the sport that we all love. So MSI is cancelled. I think there's nothing left to add on that. I think it was predictable. I think it's been mentioned by many people that had news. I had an inkling too that it would be done. Yada, yada, yada. Let's continue to the next news. 2020 World Championship Regional Seed Allocation. Ahead of 2020 World Championship, we will be implementing changes that will address how many teams each regional league will qualify into the event. So the important thing to note is that some regions have merged together, and some regions have merged together, and that makes it so there are less, of course, less leagues to have in the play-ins and so forth, and it's easier to piece together. And 24 has been the core number that Riot has always been going for with their past format of the World Championship. In order to make sure that there's 24 teams, LPL and LEC, the top two performing regions, have received an additional seed, meaning there are now 4 teams coming from the LEC and 4 teams from the LPL. Some people might ask, why is LCK and the LCS measured on the same level? Well, these are major regions. LCK is a major region, North America is a major region, LEC and LPL are considered major regions, so they get more seeds. I don't know if that's going to change, considering the Vietnamese server has so many players. I don't know if it's a base of players, a base of monetary value or so forth. I don't know, but this is something that has been the case for the longest time. I don't think this is something that is going to change. I know people are up in arms. Oh, LCS is worse than LCK. They shouldn't be considered the same. Thing is, they are considered a major region, and I don't think for the time being that anything will change. Nevertheless, we might live in a world now where the LPL might have 4 teams in semis. That might happen. 4 teams of European teams in semis. That's something that is unprecedented, but it might happen. The LPL, always that 4th best team, has looked crazy good. This year, especially, we have JDG, Top Esports, IG, FPX are looking crazy strong. EDG just played today. Scout is looking crispy. It's the LPL is definitely monstrous. LEC as well. Now the debate between Mad Lions and Origin. It's funny that there was some beef that Grabs tweeted at Kaiser after Kaiser was really molding. Kaiser was molding because people were saying that Origin's coaching staff is worse than Mad Lions, but in reality no one can really know, right? It's it's a tricky situation, but it was still funny because Kaiser said This is the OG analyst. He said that we will see who gets to Worlds. And then Grabs retweeted and said, I guess both of you will go to Worlds with this change. So it's quite funny. Nevertheless, this brought up a conversation because, at the bottom we see additional information about the 2020 World Championship, including pool placements for all seeds, will be shared closer to the event. The first thing that came to my mind, are they changing the bracket? Are they changing the system? Oh my goodness, we're going to have double elimination. Because my thought process is, we lost MSI. You got to give us more games. You owe us some more games, right? You owe the sponsorships and the fans more games, so we want more games. How do you create more games? You throw in a double elimination system. The first thing that came to my mind was, 4 groups of 6. 2 teams qualify from each group into a winner bracket, and then the third best team in the group goes into the loser bracket. And then you have this big tournament that, is played over weeks of time. And, this event, that would be amazing, amazing, amazing. But, difficult. I was even considering a world where double elimination would happen regardless. Let's say we would have the old classic system with a play-in system. We would have play-ins just as always, because this amounts to 24 teams. I don't know if they're going to add any additional teams. Doubt it. In the past, the World Championship also had 24 teams, right? So these are play-in teams that didn't make it, and these are the teams that made it through the play-in phase and so forth, and already pre-qualified to the tournament, etc. Team Liquid fourth. Nevertheless, I don't think the format is going to change, because the danger here for Riot Games, I understand that there are strategic reasons as to why they keep the tournament the way it is. I don't think Riot would make a decision like this just to, I like the format, I'm going to do it. I'm a big proponent of double elimination because I would love to see it. I think we are robbed of many unique, crazy good best of fives because we have so little international competition. So for me, it's always hard, because I really, really want to see some of the best of fives we might have missed. Like a team loses, let's say Fnatic lost to FPX and we didn't get to see them play against any other team besides the world finalists. We didn't get to see, for example, an IG versus G2 or something like this. There's just so many matchups that we never got to see that I wish we could have seen, and I think double elimination would save that. And it also compensates for the lack of games at MSI. So, it might happen. But it sets a precedent where for the next years to come, everyone's going to always reference back to it. And I think if Riot makes a decision like this, it has to be, permanent. In terms of how everything's changing, I think also there's a big chance that we're not going to have a spring split ever again. I think we are slowly being eased into the idea that spring split just doesn't matter, and then everyone's going to be like, I don't mind that it's removed. And this is something that you need to be very strategic about, because sometimes the public opinion, the way the public perceives it, is more important than what is actually the best for competition. There's been many games and many games in the past. Like the thing that speaks volumes in my head, I remember there was this game called Bloodline Champions. It was one of the most ideal PvP games because it was just so raw and it was very, very skillful, but the public perception of it was and this matters too. Big changes need to be eased into. Nevertheless, I still think we're going to have the same old system. I am sad about it, but this is my prediction. I would pray and hope for double elimination with more heavy hitters. I think the play-in system is good because there are a lot of games we don't need to watch. There are a lot of series and matches that we don't need to watch that really don't matter. And I think it's fine to have play-ins there as a little teaser for what's to come. So I think the play-ins is a good idea. And then when you have the top 16 and then the top 8, and then when you have the top 8 and you have additional best of 5s, magnifique. Give us more games, Riot Games. So the implications here is I'm not sure how LPL is going to run their system considering they have 4 teams each. They've changed their playoff system a little bit. There is like 2 gauntlets on the side of each bracket, which is super cool to follow. In the past, there was like a regional qualifier to qualify to the World Championship, but I want to focus on Europe because this is what I know and love. I love the LPL too, don't get me wrong. I love it very, very much. I'm a huge fanboy of some of the LPL teams. You guys know it. The LEC format has been changed for this year, for those who don't know. Basically, there is a double elimination. Seed 1 and 2. Number 1 seed gets to choose which opponent they want between number 4 seed and number 3. So in this example, number 1 team chose number 4. They won. They went into the winner bracket final, so to speak. Team number 2 faced team number 3, and they went on to face team number 1. Right? So this means team number 5 and 6, they began in the loser bracket. Basically, they don't have an extra life. They get to play from the loser bracket from the get-go. There are 2 teams losing in the first round of winners bracket, which means that the seeding determines what happens in the lower bracket, meaning the lower seed out of the teams that lost in the first match in the winners bracket gets to play in match 4, as we see on the screen here. All right, match number 4. And then they get skipped right to match number 6. I'm saying this and bringing this up because it's super important in regards to the LEC having 4 slots for the World Championship. It means that the regular season matters so much more. This is going to be the most important regular season we've ever had in the history of League, honestly, because of the system we have at our hands. Because the way the seeding is determined, basically who gets number 1, hashtag number 1, hashtag number 2, whatever. I know it's a number, whatever. Is determined by the points you got in spring. So right here, what I've highlighted are the points that teams received in spring. So this is, Misfits got 10 points, G2 got 90 points, and then you have the summer points, right? You have the summer points. The summer points are very, very heavily weighted, but these are points not that you get at the end of playoffs, as it was in the past. These are points that you get at the end of regular season. So you add these points together with these points, and then you determine your seeding. So what does this mean? It means in a world where G2, for example, them having the most amount of points, 90, if they get first place in the regular season, they automatically qualify to the World Championship. Second team, very likely to also automatically qualify to the World Championship unless G2, the number 1 seed, loses. Because the team that has the highest seed coming into loser bracket automatically qualifies to the World Championship because the team that is in the match 6 best of 5 goes to Worlds. That is what is so wild. If you get yourself to match number 6, you get to the World Championship. Because at the end here, we only have 4 teams left. There is no regional qualifier. There is no nothing. All we have left is this playoff bracket. Because the thought process behind this is to make sure that the teams that are being sent to the World Championship are in their best form and also get rewarded somewhat for the spring split. So you get yourself to match 6 and then you're in. So number 1 seed, you get to the World Championship 100%. Team number 2, you have a chance if you beat team number 3, whatever you get to play against, you qualify to the World Championship because here if you're in match 5, obviously you're already in match 7. If you lose, if you win, doesn't matter, you get to Worlds. If you're in match 5, you're at Worlds of the winner bracket. Team number 2 only doesn't automatically qualify to the World Championship in a world where team number 1 loses. So that means team number 1 gets auto-qualified to match number 6, and then team number 2 is put in match number 4 to face the winner of 5 and 6. Okay? So, once again, I repeat, you get yourself to match 6. There is a world where teams don't have to win a single best of 5, and they qualify to the World Championship now. That is crazy. That is absolutely nuts that there is a world where a team doesn't win a single best of 5 and go to the World Championship. So let's give some examples. So the points The summer points are more heavily weighted. So basically, if you have a team that is similar points, same points as you, and you have more points in summer, basically, let's say two teams have exactly the same points. One team has more spring points than summer. The team with more summer points is going to win out. At the same time, let's consider some options here. G2, let's say Mad Lions, they got third place, right? They got third place. If they get first place, it means they have the first seed 100%, because even in a world where G2 gets second place, they have 90 plus 100, and then of course Mad Lions would have 50 plus 140, puts them as 190, and this would put them in the number one seed coming into playoffs, which means they automatically qualify to the World Championship. They could sub in their grandmothers and qualify to the World Championship, because they don't need to win a single game in playoffs in order to get there. Because, as I repeat, team number one losing here, you automatically qualify to match number 6. So team number one here always goes to the World Championship. So the regular season is going to be super important. What are the implications? What are the implications for the future in terms of how teams are going to structure their summer split? Of course it matters if you get to the playoffs and you are in the best form possible and you win every best of 5. You also qualify to the World Championship like that, right? If you win, even if you're team number 6 and you win one best of 5, second best of 5, you get to match 6, you qualify to the World Championship. It matters. Your form in playoffs matters, and you can definitely qualify the old-fashioned way, right? But the regular season is going to be so important that there is going to be scenarios here where teams are going to focus on winning every single best of 1 instead of focusing on growth. There is situations where growth and winning align perfectly. Like in G2's case, they were getting better and they were winning, and then at the end of the season, they turned out to be the winner. Even in the regular split, they were also improving drastically. They were working on team play, working on early game. 2v2 mid was looking phenomenal. All weaknesses that G2 had last year, right? So there is some situations where that aligns, but for some teams it doesn't. Sometimes winning out games, grinding out games means that you have to stick to what you know and you focus and improve that instead of expanding your repertoire of weapons. Right? So there is a lot of strategy that will go into how you structure your summer split. This comes like an absolute shocker to me. I don't know what the other teams knew in terms of the potential seeding, because this is going to be huge. This is going to be huge. There is a world where a team doesn't win a single best of 5 and gets to Worlds. And that's wild. That's wild. Anyway, give me your thoughts. What do you think? Please write in the comments below. All the best to all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and peace. I'm excited. I just wanna watch Worlds, man.